What's up, everybody? Good morning. So, what would happen if a bank run happened or a bank holiday? When do you think it would happen? Certain season, certain day? I feel like it would be in the summertime. I feel like it would be on a Friday. That way, they have a few days to get everything going. What happens if there is some kind of malware attack on them? Or maybe it's intentional. What happens when CBDC is 100% implemented? There will be a bank holiday one day. The banks will shut down for a few days, whether intentionally or not. They're gonna have to close it down for a few days to switch over to the new system. From greenbacks to the CBDC, they will have to shut down the banks to, convert everything. And during that time, it might take a day, it might take a week. I don't know. I'm not a banker. I couldn't tell you. But how do you think people are going to act when they can't get their money for just one day? Just one day. How do you think people are going to deal with not being able to cash their checks? The majority of the people in this country live literally paycheck to paycheck, using their last few cents for gas to get to work. Say you go to work on Friday, you get your paycheck. A lot of people have direct deposit, but for those of us that get a live check, you go and cash it. Hey, sorry, sir. We're unable to cash this check. Or just the bank is closed. Temporary close. That's weird. I'd be a little upset because on Friday, that's my day off. And I use that day to do all my stuff that I need to do. The shopping and everything else. Going about the week. But my day off, now that I can't do anything because I don't have my paycheck. And sure, I have a little bit in savings. But if the bank's closed, I can't get that either. What happens when that does happen? How do you think people are going to act? How do you think the economy is going to be when the bank closes, even for a day or two? How do you think the stock market's going to act? How do you think all these crazy people that get pissed off about the smallest inconvenience, how do you think they're going to act when their cards don't work, when they can't get their Starbucks, when they can't order out on Friday, or they're pissed off because they can't go to the movies or the game or whatever on Friday, much less pay your bills? On Fridays, I call most of my bills in to get them all paid off. That way, that's the first thing I do when you get paid is I pay the bills, just so I know that they're paid. What happens when I can't do that? Do you think the electric company cares if the bank closes? If you're a day or two behind, they'll come and shut you down. Or your water bill? How about your landlord? Do you think that they care that the bank is closed? Sorry, Miss Landlord, bank's closed. I can't get your rent money. Whether it's an intentional closure for the CBDC or if it's some kind of nefarious act, some kind of hack. We all have seen how many hacks have been going on lately. Everybody's getting hacked. All the systems are getting hacked. Whether we're letting them do it to make it look like there's some big, attack going on, or whether it's just some lone crazy hacker that's doing it. I wouldn't put it past our government to let it happen just to have the problem, just so they can take more control. Time after time throughout the last century, our government has intentionally done stuff and intentionally let things happen just so they have a prelude to do something. There have been many, 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 many times that our government is known. They'll deny it. They'll deny all of it. Oh, well, we didn't do that. But time after time, our government lets things happen intentionally just so that they have a problem, because they have the solution waiting in their back pocket. It's only a matter of time before something happens and they'll be ecstatic about it. Finally, now we can implement what we wanted to. But that's not the point of the video. The point is, how are people actually going to react to it? There'll be chaos all across the freaking country. If you don't have any food for your kids, most people do grocery shopping on payday. Most people don't have a week's worth of groceries in their house. How prepared are you for that? How stocked up are you for that? My suggestion is, for everything that you buy for the week, try to buy an extra one and do that every single week. It may double your food cost, but spending more right now on food is a lot better idea than not having food when something like that does happen. And I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but the banks will close down. There will be a point where the banks shut down for an extended period of time. Whether it is nefarious or not, it doesn't matter. The point is that they are going to shut down. For how long, I have no idea. How are you going to handle that? How's your neighbor going to handle that? How is the little old man waiting for payday to buy his medicine going to handle that? The whole world, or the whole country anyway, at least for us, or wherever it happens, in an instant, will be in total chaos. People freaking out, panicking. We need to be prepared for any situation that might happen. That's a pretty dangerous one. Aside from floods and volcanoes and asteroids and nuclear war and anything else that you can think of, a bank run and a bank shutdown, where especially if everybody just tried to take their money out at once, the banks don't have enough money in the bank to give everybody their money. But when it does happen, are you going to be in line with everybody else? I know, me personally, I'm saving to buy a piece of land right now. The money's not in a bank. You don't get a very good interest rate in a bank anyway. And then they have all these online bank accounts that you can have that have 5% interest. I would do that at your own risk. I'm not going to tell you not to or to, but me personally, don't. Because that's the same thing. Anything and everything online can get hacked and can get shut down. Your ones and zeros in this world can be hacked. Anything can be hacked. The safest place that you can store anything of value is at your home in a safe with a key. And not a digital key either, because that can get hacked. Or the company can tell the FBI the master lock or the master key code, and they can come take it. Or they'll tell the IRS. It wouldn't shock me if half of those safes had some kind of spyware in them. Most of them are made in China anyway. We all know how China likes to put little listening devices in their equipment. Call me paranoid, whatever, I don't care. I don't trust anything in this world anymore. Not our own government, not China, not Russia, not the news. It's hard to believe anything you see with your eyes anymore. There's so much fake propaganda going on. It's hard to believe anything. But the safest thing that you can do is have your wealth in a safe somewhere hidden that only you know where it's at, and only you know where the locking or the key is, or the code to it, or whatever. Whether it be actual money or gold and silver, whatever kind of wealth that you think that you might need. You know, if you're the only one with paper money when the banks go down, you're going to be a lot better off than other people. There'll be a time, there'll be a period where money will still be worth something when all that happens. You know, how would, like, say there was a scenario where you had to get out of the city and the bank shut down. How are you going to get gas? If you offer the guy $50 for $20 worth of gas at the gas station, he might be a little bit more inclined to let you get it. You know what I mean? Because at that point, I mean, let's be real about it. Money's not worth anything anymore anyway. But at that point, somebody's still going to say, hey, hell yeah, that's, you know, $20 for me or $30 for me. If he's only getting $20 in gas, I'll just pocket the difference when the banks are open. Him not realizing the banks might not reopen, but at least you'll have fuel to get where you need to go. You need to have backup systems just in case your card doesn't work. And most people live on credit cards nowadays, and they pay them off at the end of the month. What happens when they stop working? It's the same thing. Or what happens when the credit companies just decide to shut your account down? There have been so many bank failures and closures in the last recent years. Really big banks too, closing down. Our economy is so screwed up. Our dollar bill, oh, it's the strongest in the world, they say. That doesn't mean much. It really doesn't. When every other economy in the world has gone to shit too. Just because you have the best in a shitty situation doesn't make yours good. It just means yours is the least shitty currency. I don't understand. I really don't. How our dollar is still even worth anything. Maybe because it's an illusion. Maybe it's because people have faith in it. I don't. I don't see any faith in our dollar bill. The amount that's been printed in the last 4 years, trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. Put that number into perspective on how big a trillion is. My son asked me how long it takes to count to 1,000 last night, and it was like, I don't know, like 10 hours, 20 hours or something. And then we did 1,000,000, and it was like, I don't know, 40 hours or 50 hours. And then we did 1 billion. If you wanted to count to 1 billion versus 1,000,000, it's 32 years. My lifetime, it would take to count to 32. Now count to 1 trillion. And it was like 43,000, I think. 43,000 years it would take you to count to 1 trillion. And we have printed trillions and trillions of dollars. Where is it going? It's going all across the world to help people. And what happens when all that money comes back? But nobody wants it anymore. Do you understand how bad that would hurt the economy? It would shut it down. It would literally cost $20,000 for a loaf of bread just because there's so much money. Inflation would go so freaking high that the dollar's not worth anything. But because some people still have faith in it and the government lies and say, yeah, it's the best it's ever been, what happened to the days of people, a dad taking care of an entire family, buying the house, buying the car on one paycheck, and doing decently? What happened to those days? Our monetary system is set up to fail. The Federal Reserve, it's set up to fail. And every couple decades, they have to implement something new. The dollar is not worth anything. It's a piece of paper with a dead guy on it. That is it. If anything, pennies are worth something. That's another thing I don't get is how, messed up quarters are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is stupid to me. Blows my mind people were willing to pay a couple grand for, a misprint on a coin. But that's different. That's a totally different subject. Are you ready for a bank collapse? Maybe it's happening soon. Maybe that's why they're putting all the National Guard in all these states to fight, terrorism. Maybe they know something's going to happen soon. Maybe they know that the banking system is going to collapse here soon. So they're trying to get everybody used to the idea of having National Guard in all the areas to maintain control. Because I tell you, when it happens, there will be no control. When people are starving because they can't buy food, do you really think that they're going to care about any of the laws? When my kids are starving, I would do anything in the world to get them food. That's why I'm actively doing stuff now, so I don't have to worry about that. But the majority of the people in this country are not prepared for anything. They're not prepared for a snowstorm for 2 days. That's why everybody goes to the store and buys all the shit when expected weather of half an inch, a half an inch possible snow comes in. And what happens? Everybody's at the grocery store buying all kinds of shit because they're not prepared for it. Most of the country is not prepared for the slightest inconvenience. People aren't even prepared to have a meal. They don't even know what their meal is because they're not prepared for it. Nobody has a plan. Nobody has any plans in this country for anything to happen. I'm not saying everybody, but like 80% of the population has no plan to do something to better their situation. They just ride with it. A lot of them I hear say, oh man, when the world happens, I'll just go take it. Not for me or not. Not from a lot of people I know. I wouldn't recommend that as your game plan. I recommend doing the work now to better your situation in the future. I think we all need to build some kind of arc, if you want to call it that. Prepare now for the lean times, the shitty times, because it will happen. It will happen one day. Whether it be in a week, whether it be in a year or two. But I know what's been going on cannot continue to go on. for very much longer. We are literally hanging on by a pubic hair thread, and it's holding the entire economy together. And how it has not snapped yet, I have no freaking clue. But it will one day snap. And how are you gonna tell your kids that, sorry, I didn't prepare for this? The signs are all around us that our economy is done. And people still choose to believe that they can take out 30-year mortgages and they can wait till tomorrow to prepare. You're a fool if that's what you think. You are an absolute fool if you think you can prepare tomorrow. Do everything that you can today. Do everything that you should have done yesterday. Do it today. As much as possible. Get your shit in order, or you will die when all of this goes down. Most people are not going to make it because they choose to live a life of going out, hanging out, partying, doing all this stupid stuff. They're too lazy to prepare their lives for dark days ahead of us. It's really sad and it's really unfortunate. But everything that I've prepared for my family. The best I can do is tell other people to get prepared. If I had $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, whatever, I would build a whole commune and have people come and live on it and learn to live together and grow our own food, but I don't. I barely have enough for my own family. That's not being selfish, it's called taking care of your own. I barely have enough for that. That's why I hardly go out to eat. That's why I hardly do anything mainstream is considered fun, because I'm more focused on preparing for the future than I am having a fun life right now. I'm building for the future. That's what makes me happy, honestly. Is working towards a future, working towards somewhere to be in life. And I suggest everybody do that. I suggest everybody do what they can now and get prepared for what's to come, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, as sad as it is to think about. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.